for women's sports. And at this point, we're going to bring in our special guest, Miss Randy Henry. Come on in and join us. Good morning. How are you today?
I am phenomenal. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
All righty.
Yes. I'm in the car. You have to excuse me. I'm refereeing football today, so I had to be out close to the field so I can go, sprinting to the field when we're done.
All right. Well, we do appreciate that. Thank you very much. We do.
Yes.
We are going to be asking some questions about your referee. We're going to get there, but first, we really quickly want to get your thoughts on the WNBA playoffs. We had the Aces taking down the Wings last night for 3-0 in the 5-game series. And right now we have the Liberty and the Sun at 2-1 with the Liberty winning last night. Well, how do you think the playoffs are going so far?
I think the playoffs have been phenomenal. They have been getting so much attention. I think we've been sitting into this great space coming off of the NCAA tournament last year. Well, I should say this year, but last season, and where it went with women's sports, and it really carried over to the W this summer, which I'm really excited about because it's the type of energy it's been deserved. And I'm excited that it's transferring over. And then they've been super competitive. A lot of people have been coming out to watch them every night, and it's been really fun to watch because it hasn't been a simple fly-by playoffs. The women are really working hard. They are out there competing. I mean, we're seeing some real basketball, and I think this is a great way to start to end the WNBA season, starting to roll into our NBA seasons and NCAA seasons. So I'm just really excited about the way it's going. The publicity that's been coming behind it, and on top of the women are just being competitive as hell. It's just been great to watch.
All right, that leads into the next question. Do you think, you said rolling into the NCAA season, do you think that LSU is going to repeat this year?
Oh, that's tough. I feel like that's the question of the century. It's been interesting in the transfer portal. She even went and got some killers to come join the team in the transfer portal, where before she literally took a whole bunch of transfers from different schools. She knew the attitude that she had to have to build the team that could play for her and the type of attitude that she has as a coach in Kim Mulkey. But I think that there's a high chance that they are going to win the NC2A tournament again. They have to just make sure that they stay focused and stay on task in the sense of it's going to be a lot surrounding them, right? They're going to have a lot of the Coach Prime effect, if you want to say, surrounding them going into the season. And so it's going to take a lot of focus because we are still talking about college kids, right? A lot of focus and staying part of the course and really trusting in the system that Kim Mulkey is building over there. But they really have a chance to win the tournament again, but it's not going to be easy because they still got to come across a South Carolina and Dawn Staley. They still got to come across Iowa, who is just really, upset about what they had last year. And a lot of their players are coming back. So it's going to be a very interesting season, but I think like it was last year, a lot of their competition is going to come in the SEC. It's not going to be easy for them to come out of the SEC. It's competitive as all get out in that conference every single night, and then have to come from there to go to the NC2A tournament. You go into a whole nother spectrum, but they definitely have a chance. But right now, I think it's too early for me to say 100%, yeah, they're going to win it all.
Was that young lady from Louisville? Was that the transfer there? Is that where she came from?
Yep, she came from Louisville, and it should be interesting. It kind of goes back to, how many basketballs can you have left for her, because she was a high scorer at Louisville. She wasn't just a intermittent player that came in and did well, but in the same breath, they have been a team that's been able to be balanced and fair. Even some of their top tier players, if you really look at their stats, it's not like they're having high numbers. You have an Angel Reese that can still walk away with a double-double, a triple-double, but her line stat is pretty even versus like, she has, 30 points and 15 rebounds. She might just be at like 12 or 14, have 10 rebounds, kind of carry on from there. But that's exactly what they need. And so to have another high scorer like that, what's going to mess up everybody else is that they got to play straight up. They can't sit in no zones. They can't do a whole lot of help defense. They're going to have to really figure out how to play some one-on-one basketball, and that's going to be hard against the talent that they have.
All right. See, this is what we need. See this? Look at that. Look at that analyst. Did she breathe? She went right through. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm telling you, I went to the SEC tournament last year, and LSU, Angel Reese was in foul trouble early. A girl came off the bench, and she had, I think, 22 in the first half, and then never played again. But that's the type of talent that goes so long on their bench, where they could take some girls and you can drop them on another team, even some team that win games, and they're going to be their number one scorer. They're going to be the star on their team. But that's how deep of a bench that she built, that when she has her top player go into foul trouble, that she can have somebody come off the bench and go and get 20 points like it was nothing. So they never missed a beat that whole time. So that's what's going to make it interesting, is that she looked, and I say she as in Kim Mulkey, looked further down the line than just my starting five. I even got these backup players who can come on the floor and do some big things.
Yeah. Well, I'm liking Tennessee to challenge them. Of course, we got the young lady with the Detroit roots over there.
Absolutely.
So I'm liking Tennessee's chances of giving them a tough ride, as well as for South Carolina.
Absolutely.
All right. I hear there's a new team in the WNBA going to the Bay Area. What are your thoughts on that?
It should be interesting. You know, I have this push and pull with the WNBA and where they choose to put teams. I personally think, I used to not say this out loud because I'm like, one day they're going to steal this and they're going to run with it. But I used to say, I don't know why they don't drop WNBA teams in these big college towns. Like, you should definitely have one in Tennessee. You should have one where Baylor is. You should have one, even when thinking about South Carolina now. Why are we trying to go to these major markets and do in comparison to an NBA and NFL team or a Major League Baseball team when you already have a fan base within these college schools, these college towns? Drop that team right there while they don't have nothing to do all summer, and they're going to come support. They're going to sell out the arena. They're going to do some phenomenal things. So I sometimes question, what is really the motives and thoughts to keep going to these major markets to drop WNBA teams? And that's not to say that these women don't deserve to be in a major market. That's not how I feel about it, because obviously they bring out, you know, you got a New York, for example, you got a Las Vegas, for example, right? That still are able to bring in these big numbers. But when you're starting to think about the totality of teams, how they want to grow the league, where they want to be able to pay women at a higher status or level, why wouldn't you leverage those amazing college towns that will support women's basketball in and out, whether they're winning or losing? And then if you drop a couple of players on their team that come from that college, they're going to lose their mind, right? It's going to intently go crazy. And so it's like Bay Area. I love the idea. I love the thought of it, but why skip over some of these places? And it really has me thinking, is it intentional from the NBA to not do it? Do they not want them to excel to that magnitude? Do they not want to see them supersede to a point where it's like, you know, damn, they're really watching women's basketball, right? And not paying us as much attention. So I think it'll be great. Definitely need some expansion because there's not enough teams right now. So many women got cut this year that were phenomenal college basketball players. And it was for two reasons. There weren't enough spots. And as much as I feel like this is unpopular opinion, there are people that need to retire. There are people that are, you know, in their 40s, their late 30s, not saying that they can't play anymore, but they're starting to run into being injury prone. They're having these other issues. They're taking up salary caps and everything like that, instead of just retiring and allowing the opportunity for the new faces to come in. And the new faces need to come in because they're getting all the talk from college, right? They're getting all the talk. They're getting all the social media presence, and then they get cut from the W. It's like, what's really going on? So it'll be
a traditional thing with the WNBA from the very beginning. They built a league on young ladies who were traditional stars, nationally and internationally, that played in America, and that's been the trend that they've had from the very beginning.
Exactly, and then just thinking about what's been happening with overseas. Right. It's been such a different transition. It's been kind of scary for a lot of these athletes to want to go back over there. I played overseas for 8 years, so I know some of the fear associated with it, and also some of the greatness that you also can get from it, because there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of space, but it really begs to differ. How do we not have that same opportunity and space here in the United States? It's no reason for it not to be happening.
That begs my next question. What can we do to bring things better here in America in terms of women's sports as opposed to what you've seen overseas when you played?
I think that we need to leverage social media a little bit more. And I think there's a lot that has been going with that. You have like overtime basketball, and they also have a women's side of it when they just started with the boys. And then we have a couple of different leagues that are starting to develop themselves and have these different types of ways that they're going to be presenting different. When just think boxing has so much greater in the women's side of it, right? We got somebody like a Clarissa Shields that's being able to sell out LCA, right? Which is phenomenal. We usually don't hear those things. And we're a lot of the men that are supporting sports are starting to say, you know what? These women actually can compete. Like, this is actually something to watch and be wherewithal. All the time I tell people, another athlete, a male athlete, they always gonna show respect. They know the grind. They know how hard it is. They know it's not easy to be able to be great or let alone a professional at your particular sport. But it's okay. How can we get the fandom of the random guy or the regular guy, you should say, who has never played a sport or who just likes to talk about sports? How do you get them intertwined? And I think that's what the NC2A tournament did this past season was it was so much buzz around it. People that would never turn on the women's tournament was just like, well, let me see what's going to happen. And then when they turned it on, they like, wow, they can actually play basketball though. This isn't just a show. Like they actually can play basketball. No different with Clarissa. It was so much hype around going to Little Caesars for that. And I know a lot of men personally were just like, let me just see if this is interesting. They just bought a ticket to be like, is this even going to be worth it? And then came back. Oh no, they actually can box. They actually know what's going on. They actually had these other people that were pre to them. This was a good thing to see. So I think leveraging social media, being able to show that women in sports is not just Title IX at this juncture, to give something else to do, that there actually are real athletes who can play the game, who can play the sport and are tremendous in it. And it's continuing to grow in that spectrum. And the more that there are more professional athletes that support it is also great. But then when you also get just sports fans that can look back and say, you know what, this has been great to watch, to be a part of. I want to bring my family. It'll continue to grow that way.
Now, do you think it would be a bad thing to change the name of the WNBA or do some of the gimmicky things like change the height of the rim? Is that an insult or is that something that you think would be good to bring more people in?
I teeter on this. They always talk about like change the height. They'll dunk more. They'll be above the rim. However people want to play it, and I'm saying this as a woman athlete, naturally men at that level, right? You can drop a WNBA player in the LA Fitness and she gonna kill 90% of the men that's in there, right? But you can't drop a WNBA player on an NBA team and she's going to match up to the NBA players, right? So we're talking about at a high level. We're not talking about at a mediocre level, a high school level. We're talking about at a high level. So why insult to say, okay, we got to make the rim lower. Oh, you guys got to give more action. All these things got to happen. Okay, you're just talking out the side of your mouth at this juncture in life because you can't even beat me in one-on-one at whatever height the rim is at, right? So the things that you're talking about that you're saying is the debate within it is not going to bring any more fans, right? That's not what's going to bring people to the game. People that's going to support it is going to support it however they're going to look at it, right? That's almost like saying, oh, if we got a football team, don't let the women hit. Right. If they make a decision to go out there and play professional football with pads on and run each other over, by all means, let it happen. Let them crack
some of the best games you ever want to see. They get out there and get the hitting, and then there's more trash talk than the men.
Listen, it is insane. And every year they used to ask me to play, and I'm like, you want somebody to intentionally hit me? That's not my ministry. I won't play that sport. I like watching it. It's fun to watch. But I think it's less about what people are thinking is the right way to bring more attention and just to straight up level set and say that these are some phenomenal athletes. And I do not care how you want to spin it. If you are a regular person, you are not going to go out there and kill a pro. You just not. And if it's male on male, female on female, however you want to look at it, you're not going to have that leverage. You're not going to have that up. That's just like saying, you drop an NBA player in any rec league. I don't care if he's the 15th man on the bench. He going to go into that game and have 50. Why? Because he is levels on top of levels above any regular person that just want to go play for fun. And it's no different for women. So it's less about having those conversations and more about having the conversations to say, have you ever really even watched? Have you ever really supported a game? Have you tuned in to the game of the night? Have you watched the SEC tournament, the Big Ten tournament? Have you turned on the WNBA playoffs to actually see what's going on that night? That's how that's going to be able to get people in and not talking about the semantics.
Okay. All right. Do you feel like you receive any kind of a backlash as a female referee out there, whether it's football or men's basketball or anything like that?
Absolutely. It happens often. It's a difference. You learn to be a lot more stern and strong in who you are. It's also hard as a woman because it's like you don't want to come off as, oh, she having a bad day. She got an attitude today. Here she go. Like, let's go. One way that I've learned to combat that and to really be able to come on top is the importance of understanding the rules. It's even sometimes hard being a former athlete and you're a referee in a game today, and I'll use basketball, for example, and somebody it never fails. Randy, you wouldn't want that call when you was playing. I tell a coach, you're absolutely right. But guess what? When I was playing, that was legal. Today, it's not. Per rule, it says A, B, C, D, E. And then nobody can combat that. They're like, but I'm just saying, when you was playing, I get it, but I'm not playing no more. I'm refereeing, so I have to edge on the side of this, right? And so when you're able to communicate better, when you're able to communicate your knowledge, and also just being in the game and a part of the game, you have a feel for the game. So you know how to talk to people. You know how to talk to the athletes, right? And when they see that you cool, like, oh, okay, she understand. You hear a kid say something that's inappropriate. If the masses didn't hear it, I'm not going to just criticize that kid. I'm going to walk up to, hey, I need you to relax. They be like, but ref, I know, but I heard you. We don't want to make this worse. Instead of being the person just to go give them a tech, right? Or something happened on the field, throw a flag. And then they like, come on, man. Like, you got to, come on. Like, we not going to start this tonight. Like, work with me on this. And then you find that leverage. Parents, something a little different, but also don't have to answer to a parent, so I could care less. I got to answer to coaches, players, and those who assign me. Parents, I've been in some situations that I let my mouth, get some parents together. Some of these mamas, I love y'all, but y'all and y'all babies, y'all be trying it a lot. So I've had to get some parents together. But that's the realm of the game today, right? Everybody thinks their kid is the next Kobe, the next Tom Brady, whatever is the case. And you're like, they barely get in the game. Like, but who am I, right? Who am I to say? So you start
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. But you started to develop your respect like that. So
you see yourself a trailblazer, one of the first people to take advantage of the transfer portal. I remember you left from UND to
yes.
UNLV. And I think you finagled your way and not having a solid year. So do you think you were a trailblazer in that right?
I did have to sit out a year. My school that I came from was very proactive in making sure that happened. Today, they can, God, I mean, this transfer portal is kind of mind-boggling, to be honest. Literally thousands of kids went into the transfer portal in 2022, leading up into the season for basketball, both men and women. And it's just because it's so easy. I mean, now I can say, oh, I got a family member that's sick and I need to play right away, or, this happened and I need to go, or whatever is the case. I do think the NC2A is about to start cracking down on that. They gave more leeway in COVID, trying to do right to the athletes, and a lot of advantage was taken. And don't be surprised when y'all next conversation will happen, maybe not these seasons, but coming in next year, that transfer portal is going to change completely across all sports, because at this point it's literally gotten insane with these NIL deals. And the unfortunate part is that people get so excited about it that they actually hurt themselves more than actually doing what's best for them. I've seen both sides of it. I've seen one side where a team said, well, yeah, you have a 5th year, but we're not going to use you, but I can help you get in this school over here. You can get your master's and they'll actually play you instead of us just cutting you. You know what I mean? And then I've seen people go into the transfer portal and nobody want them. And now you at a JUCO and you used to be the best player in your state or whatever is the case. So it's been very interesting. It was the best decision for me when I transferred. I went from a small school in University of Detroit to a major university in UNLV, and it was like night and day. So coming out of there, being an All-American, having the opportunity to keep playing, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I even encourage kids now, leave home. Don't stay there. Home will never go anywhere. When you come home, the same people will be doing the same things. So,
You're right.
you know, it's the truth. They're going to be doing the same thing. So
same
thing at the same places. So leave for 4 years and come back and you'll be fine. Or you might stay where you were at. So it's just all in decisions. But the transfer portal was best for me. It was awesome. I can kind of say I was a trailblazer in the sense that it's rare people transfer lower to higher, right? Usually they transfer and they go to a lower university, meaning maybe they go from D1 to D2 or they go to a smaller school. But, you know, maybe I'm a trailblazer in that one. I went from a lower school to a higher one.
All right. 2 quick questions. We're going to get you out of here. If you could have any job in sports, what would it be? And is there anything that you want to promote?
Okay, so I do love being an official. I've been teetering on if I want to go the pro route. They really been looking for women for the NBA and also the NFL. So I've been teetering with that if I really want that to become my thing, or if I want to go 100% into sportscasting. I love officiating. It's brought me so much opportunity and able to be around the game. But the more that I've been back into this and just talking sports and being around people and being able to give my opinion and recognize I can, you know, great debate with some of the best ones. And I also have the insight to have the conversation. I really am toying with that, but I'm gonna have to make a decision soon because it's hard to do both when you're engulfed into refereeing the sport as well as it's going on at the same time. So we will see, but that's where I'm at. I got my degree in TV radio, so that's been my start. You know, I grew up in a TV station. My dad was a director at one of the NBC affiliates in Detroit, so it's just something that's placed in my heart. So we'll see what happens with that one. And then to promote, I have a podcast where I talk to athletes. I talk to athletes about life after sports, and it's called Sports Society. You can find me on Instagram at Sports Society 22, also on YouTube as well. And I just talk to athletes about how do you manage and maintain when sports is over, right? What's next? People don't understand that when you spend your whole life doing this one thing pretty much, and then one morning you wake up and it's done. And you have to know what to do next. And I even say it's harder sometimes on men because you have more of an expectation to be this phenomenal athlete, right? And then when it's over and everybody leaves and the noise has silenced, how do you function? How do you find that next juncture in life? Or how do you even prepare for it so that you're able to be great? So it's been phenomenal talking to people. I now have people that want to come back and be on the show to tell their stories and their versions because it's insane when you start to hear when people say it out loud and they talk about it, the depression that they go to. So I really encourage you all to check it out and listen to it. You know, like I said, you can find me on YouTube and also on Instagram, Sports Society. My personal Instagram is Randy Camille. So a lot of information is dropped on there as well. And just like to have, you know, some fun with it.
All right. Thank you very much. I know you got to keep moving. We want to get you out of here. Thank you so much. At this point, we're going to take a quick pause for the calls.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
Good. Well, we're going to use this really quickly as a bridge to bring in our guests. We want to thank Julita Nolan and Marshall Gilkey for joining us today. We have a special guest. Her name is Chevelle O'Brien, and she has I want to bring her in at this point of our discussion while we're talking about Ime Udoka, because she asked me, hey, I know you guys are gonna be talking about that. I got some things I want to say about that as well, and so if we can bring her in. Thank you for joining us, Miss O'Brien. Good
Hi,
morning.
good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for having me.
Good morning.
I'll
I
just have
want
a
to
quick
introduce
point.
introduce the son. Well, really quickly, we'll introduce the son and say and reintroduce the others. Miss Chevelle O'Brien. She is currently a teacher in Detroit Public Schools and longtime friend. So go ahead. What are you going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just wanted to interject on that a little bit. I think from my perspective, on the Udoko case, it's saddening because as a Black man, you had a head coaching position in Boston, which is one of the most racist, cities there is. So you have a lot on your back. So you have to move a certain kind of way. We all know what happens in the NBA. We all know what happens in the NFL, all professional athletes, high school, college, it doesn't matter. But you have to stay true to the craft and what you're there for. And yes, you were successful. You took them to you could have won, and you did some great things in the first year of your career. So you also have a level of self-control. And as you piggybacked on, me being in sports, working around men, college, been a former athletic director, head coach for boys basketball, went to Central State, worked with NFL players, you have to have a certain type of self-control. It's not made for the weak, obviously. But at the same time, look how many people you let down in that process as a Black man and a head coach in Boston. And for what? And it is a little more than that, as the story is unfolding, they're saying he was messing with multiple women and some of them got pregnant and he's badgering them to get abortions. That's what the problem is.
Good.
That's what's coming out. So, I don't know what's going on. Like you said, I'll piggyback on that. I'm not in their house or whatever, but on him, you had a certain responsibility and you dropped the ball. And that could be over power, ego, and what have you. You represented and you did well. You were set up for another year. And was it worth it? Was it worth it? Because one, they're not married. So could you be quote unquote, is he technically cheating? He's not married.
No.
10 years you've been engaged. I'm not going to be with somebody for 10 years engaged. I'm not. And no, we don't know what their arrangement is, but at the end of the day, is it really cheating? And for her to have her job, the woman that he so-called was cheating with, her job is protected. Nobody's firing her. So what is this really about? That's just what I have to say.
Thank you so much for eloquently putting that post, that quote together. I did not know about these cheerings, so that definitely I can see why they were.
Man, what is
cheerings? Not child, children, cheerings.
But that's allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay. Well, because they did say that's what pretty much prompted the full investigation, that there were some threats going on. So I could see where that type of threat would be happening. Because wow. We're gonna pray for everybody involved in that situation, top to bottom. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, Jim. The how he allegedly got these kids or whatever. Have a kid by him though? If you was you already doing. What I'm saying is, you're always with Nia Long. You're having unprotected sex with somebody who's already in a relationship. You don't have a kid with him. He's not about to leave her to be with you, right?
But they were living in two different states.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the majority of the year, while he's doing this, the lady that allegedly, she schedules the traveling. So he's there in Boston by himself. She just helped her move there 2 weeks ago. So he's been in Boston by himself as a man.
Right. But when I'm in a relationship and I'm cheating with you, and I happen, you get pregnant, why would you want to conceive a child by me when you already seeing this?
I mean, it's the power.
Right?
It's the power. The
What
ego.
Power? What power would you have? You wouldn't have no power. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna take care of my baby. I still ain't gonna be with you. So what power did you get? You didn't get no power.
Well, I think she's saying that the power that May has. I think she's saying the women are enamored by the power that May has, and saying that this powerful man, I have a child by this powerful man. I think that's what she's saying.
And he's black. This lady's white.
Okay, so to understand, negate what you're saying, to understand what you're saying, Calvin Murray, basketball player, he has over 12 kids. He's not a father to none of them. Dwight Howard, he's father to none of them. That's what I'm saying. So I can still, okay, I'm going to pay for I'm going to call it a mistake because a kid is not a mistake. I'm going to pay for my child. I'm still be with me alone.
But what you're missing, the small part is that there are two types of women in the world. There's wife material and it's mistress material. It's side chicks. This is what they do.
Absolutely.
They don't, it's all about integrity. I don't aim in life to be second in anything that I do. Absolutely. So I'm definitely not made for that. But you have a group of women, which seems to be society is accepting that it's okay, especially when he has a woman or a wife, they get a charge out of that. I don't know. But that was never my lane. So
now you're on an episode of Basketball Wives.
Hey guys, it's early. Cut it out. No, but that's what I'm
just being.
I can't relate either. I don't understand it. So I don't understand.
Okay, look at
All right. Well,
here we go. Here's a good example. Everybody knows Tammy Rowland, correct?
Right.
Look at Tammy Rowland. What did she really blow up on though? Off of Basketball Wives. She never was a wife. Well, yes, she was. She was married to Kenny.
She was married to Kenny Anderson.
Right. She was married to Kenny. She got it. Kenny cheated, right? But did that really launch her career?
She was on the Real World before.
She was on the Real World. That was my introduction.
What I'm saying is the Real World really launched her out to Canada. Basketball Wives did. Because now she has her own show called Cheater. That's what I'm saying. But if what I'm saying is she never divorced. Is she where she is now? Probably not. Because she put all the tails out. She phones, he had this, he had that. She put so much information that half of them wives didn't even know. That's what I'm saying. She became the wives. That's all I'm saying.
At the end of the day, Coach Udoka had a responsibility. He has to have self-control, and he blew it for temptation.
I'm not gonna say he blew it. Everybody gets the second chance.
Here's why I agree with he. I don't see him coming back to Boston.
Exactly.
That's why I had to agree with that point. He may be a college coach somewhere at a small D3 school, or he may go to a top level high school program. But him coming back to Boston, if he does, I'm gonna send you one of those edible arrangements because I don't see him coming back.
So
because it's what, a year suspension,
it's 32,
right? Is it a year suspension?
Right. It's 32 years. It's 32 teams in the NBA. You tell me he can't land a job? No.
Now, I don't see him coming back as a head coach.
Saying that he can't be trusted and things like that, just based on, like I said, this is still unraveling. But just the little bits and pieces that we're hearing, it's kind of like nobody wants to touch him. Nobody's denying his talent. That's first of all. But he shouldn't have denied his talent. This is your character we're looking at here. So you got other organizations. All this is going on. It's kind of like now you're making everybody look at everybody's organization. It's like blowing it off the top, and it's just unfortunate at the end of the day. But I don't see him coming back to Boston at all.
Well, then he cheated on his girlfriend.
Fiance.
And Rivers
Glenn
Rivers has a porn addiction. So, coach to the 76ers.
Well, that's a different topic for a different day. I understand where you're going, but we can't. No, here's why we can't keep fighting this one. We got to move forward. We got to move forward. We got to move forward.
Just saying. I'm saying everybody has vices.
I agree.
His vice is watching porn.
But whatever he's done, it's to the point where they're focusing on him.
I got her spot.
Because I almost said something stupid. I had to catch myself.
Yeah, he had a responsibility.
Okay, now we don't disagree with all that, but we got to keep, in the interest of time, we got to keep the show moving. We did bring Miss O'Brien here to talk about her and all the things that she's accomplished. So we can definitely talk about this literally the rest of the hour, but we want to make sure we highlight.
Yeah, let's talk about the rest of the hour. Forget everything. Sports is sports.
Right, you just get me going. Like,
hey, y'all done got me up now.
Me too.
I'm over here stirring the pot, man.
Yes,
I'm stirring the pot.
Yes, you are.
All right, we're gonna leave it. The last word with Ms. Carver Evans is different when it's one of the executive vice. We're gonna leave that. Thank you, Ms. Evans. We're gonna move forward with Ms. O'Brien. She is currently at Henry Ford High School as the head girls cross country, head girls basketball coach, and assistant track coach. She came originally out of Burton International when I met her back in 1987, where she transitioned into the King MSAT program and graduated from Cody High School. Graduated at Central State University, and we both started in DPS in 1997. Her in April 1st, and me right after the strike. I'm sorry, 1999. Me right after the strike.
Yeah. That was about fresh out of college. They're like, you can't go to work. I'm like, what? Yeah. Fresh out of college.
I started just a little bit later because of the strike that year, and she's been at McKenzie, Osborne,
everywhere,
Cass, Northwestern, and so that tells you a lot of people have careers like that.
I've never been to Mumford. That's crazy, never. But we just played him last night. Cass did.
Never been to Mumford.
And I know that
you need to let me hire me as your agent.
She wants to highlight the fact that her son is a senior this year at Cass Tech, and it was Parents' Night last night, and that she's been keeping very, very busy with that young man. Yes. And we're gonna do our best to get him some looks, to get him a college scholarship, so Mama can do nothing but send him spending money. So
I appreciate it. Okay.
All right. So first thing is, what was your favorite school in DPS to work at, and why?
Wow. To be with all honesty, I would have to say Cass Tech.
Man, I'm
because
dumb, man. I knew
this is because let me explain something. I spent 6 years at Cass, and it was more so the athletes that ran through there that are now in the NFL. I was there during that time with the DPJs, Michael Amu. Most of them went to Michigan, but it was the sense of, and I worked with Thomas Welcher. He was the football coach at the time, and to see all that excitement and all those scouts, all those schools there for just kids, and I had those kids since they were like in the 8th grade, just coming to Cass, unknown. You didn't even know where they were going to wind up, and then to see them on TV, that is amazing. And then you have to look at the other part where the other schools that might be like neighborhood schools. I started at McKenzie. You know, my mentor was Robert Dozier, may he rest in peace. That's Jerome Bettis' coach. So he took me, I was fresh out of college, and I didn't understand that, you had to work hard to be like a head coach. And he took me under his wing, he called me his daughter, taught me everything. So I was already groomed to be an AD fresh out of college under him. I learned everything from him. So,
athletic director.
Hey,
you've been athletic director twice.
Yeah.
What
you say, Felix?
I say you ain't mentioned Mike Kyron. He played with Donald Jones. Kyron McKinley.
I don't know Kyron.
See what I'm saying? This is why.
Obama
say
we can't. First of all, Cass is a big school. Thousands of kids, and then I was the phys ed teacher. So if they didn't have me through phys ed, this is how I met most of these kids. It's so big.
You can't even imagine.
That don't mean I know every football player.
You don't know Kyron McKinley?
Ask him, do he know Coach O'Brien?
He trying to turn stuff around.
We gonna keep moving forward. We gonna keep
Come
moving
on,
forward.
get Felix.
Yeah, you trying to turn stuff around.
All right.
You know
As
what?
an
I ain't-
athletic director, you had some great successes. Speak a little bit about some of your successes as an athletic director.
Actually, Henry Ford was the first school. Ken, who I work with now, Ken Flowers, he had a mascot, and I always admired that. And one thing, when I was the athletic director at Osborne, I made sure that those students on 7 Mile and Hoover had a mascot, and that was like something that I really enjoyed. A lot of things, because when you work in certain neighborhood schools, you really come in and you see that little light in them, and some of them think they can't do things or they can't accomplish things. And my way is through sports. So, for them to be like, hey, can I be the mascot? Or just bringing kids off the street that normally wouldn't even attend school events, or would be fighting, or would be in guns, or would be in drugs, and they wanted to be the mascot. That was just a small highlight, but it meant a lot to me there. And like I said, even just coaching throughout the years, a lot of Brian Tipton, he's now the principal at Persian. He allowed me to be on his staff, and I just started off keeping stats. I had just had my son or daughter, I can't remember, but I was just keeping stats at first, and that blossomed into Tip saying, hey, I want you on my staff to be one of the boys' assistant coaches. That was a big highlight in my career. Like, wow, so for men to give you that stamp and show you the ropes or appreciate your input, you can't go wrong with that. But like I said, teaching 23 years in DPS, coached boys sports, even when I was at Kettering, because like I said, I am DPS. I was the boys swim coach, the boys golf coach, under Travis. Travis was the athletic director. Bogart was the principal, but then he died. So I've been around for 23 years. I have 7, and then I'm going to retire. So,
all right. That leads to my next question. A lot of people don't know, if you're a teacher in most school districts, a phys ed teacher anyway, a part of your contract as a phys ed teacher is to coach at least one semester or one sport. And oftentimes that does lead to women having to coach the men's sport. What are some of the hurdles that you've had to overcome being a female coaching the men?
To be honest with you, I think for me, it started up how I grew up. I'm built for it. I grew up on 12th, Rosa Parks, grew up across the street from Derek Coleman. My whole neighborhood is full of guys. I'm a tomboy. And then I went to Central State. I wound up being in sports, working around, being a trainer. I'm a Hall of Famer. I got inducted in the Hall of Fame, Central State 2017, by Billy Joe. And I worked under Kevin Porter for the Detroit Pistons. So I'm built for it. I've never had any issues with the young men. Actually, Brenda Gatling was the first woman that I know that coached boys basketball. And Steve Hall told me that. I didn't even know that. But, and I've even had boys say, you should coach us, that kind of thing. So I've never had any issues. It's not about, I don't want to listen to her. She's a female. I had that problem being an AD. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to listen. They don't want to do what you're asking them to do, coaches. But other than that, I've never had an issue. It's actually quite, when you can get guys to buy into the program and do what they're supposed to do, I don't have those issues. So like I said, I haven't coached many boys sports, but I did coach golf at Kettering, boys golf, boys swimming at Kettering, and with Tip, the boys basketball. And it was just pretty much my input that kind of, how coaches will get in the huddle and they'll say, well, do you have anything you want to say? Those type of things. Those type of guys gives you that look. The kids, they really buy into it. So I've never really had any issues.
All right. Well, in the interest of time, I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to go a little bit further into you and your career. We talked about the Emmanuel thing, and that was a great conversation. I did tell you I had one question I wanted to ask you that I did prepare you for. Now,
excuse me.
Now, here's we're gonna ask you this question. We're gonna get you out of here. A lot of people don't know. You're Chevelle O'Brien. You know me as Kamau. I know you as Chevy.
Right.
What happened to the album?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, here's why I asked that. Chevelle is one of the best rappers ever.
Oh my God.
When I say she better than, I'm not even gonna say female rapper. she can give you a high 16 and hurt your feelings because you don't see it coming. So I'm gonna ask you again, what happened to the album?
Wow. And I want to say this is almost a 40-year friendship from Cranbrook. You know, you my brother. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Kamau. What happened was you have to make a choice in life. And, you know, I was in the rap scene. You know, I had to go to work for the 8 Mile movie. You're supposed to be there every day. It was a choice at the time that I really gave up for students in my career. You know, I never thought it would be a good look because if I'm going to do something, I got to do wholeheartedly. And then I was still a teacher. So I was kind of blood in the crip at the same time. And then I said, I had to make a decision. And I chose my career. And yes, people have asked me, you know, and it is a passion because I love music. And yes, you know, I probably could have been a star. I will agree with that. Now that I look back, I could have done it. But I just gave it up for the children of DPS and my career. And then I started a family. So I just kind of came off the radar and I pop in the little things here and there. You know, I'm still around, but, you know, I don't rap anymore. Okay. I can't believe you said that.
Because I'm not going to lie. I was just waiting for all these years. Like, she going to do it. She going to do it. I mean, I'm you know, of course, we know people that's still in the game. So hopefully, as you can see, as you transition to being an empty nester, that's something that you can bring back. Because I'm trying to tell you, they don't want to see you.
No, they don't.
All those Barbies, whatever they call that stuff out there, they will be very hurt when you come on the scene and put them all in their place.
You know what?
I'm serious because you got that kind of that kind of gift.
Small thing, and I'm gonna get out of here. The closest I got again was when I was the senior sponsor at Cass, and Big Sean gave us that Adidas studio, right? And I was the sponsor, and I was in the cypher, and the kids were blown back. They like, oh, so that was the closest I got to it again. It felt great, but it was like, oh, the kids were amazed. And then we had a real studio in Cass that year, 2016. So I was in the cypher, like the only teacher that ever rapped in the cypher. But I tore it up. But you know.
All right. Now I do have an ask, and we want to get you out of here. Maybe maybe not today. I know you're not prepared mentally to give a 16, but we gonna at some point we gonna need a theme song, and I would love for you to be a part of that.
You know what? I just might. I like that Lucchini falling from the sky from Camp Low. I'm old school.
Okay. All right. Like we gonna have to definitely put that together.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Really quickly, Felix, any questions really quickly before we get it out of here so we can go through the show?
Felix. Oh, you ain't got nothing to say, Felix.
Hey, you're grad at Central State. My aunt went there, so she graduated.
Okay. So you know what it is, HBCU all day. Listen, I had a ball. Thank you guys for inviting me. Kamau, you know you're the only person I would even fathom getting on here with. I love you, brother. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We should talk to you soon.
Okay, you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Miss Chevelle O'Brien, a great friend of mine I've known for many, many years. And I'm serious when I say that. When I say she can rap, and I'm serious. So, like I say, if when at some point, hopefully, she can get back into that lane because she's definitely better than I won't even say female rapper. She's better than most rappers, period, out there. All right, really quickly, don't forget, click like, click share, get your book, Gratefulness Journey Every Day by this gentleman right here, Mr. Marcus Holmes, the Wiz as he lives in Oz, the man behind the scenes, doing all the great stuff that we don't see. And so we'll make sure we support him because we're going to talk about Sweetest Day. That's a good Sweetest Day gift for yourself as well as your spouse. We're going to get to that as a part of our close today. And so how do you get the book, you say? Go to Amazon. Like his profile on Amazon. Order it, get it on Prime. You can have it in just a few days. All righty. Moving into football, we're gonna get through it as fast as we can and cut through a little bit of things. Top news in football right now. You got undefeated Miami, who was undefeated, and Philadelphia left. The Raiders are 0-3. Cincinnati, they beat Miami, and Arizona at 1-2. These are surprise teams that we thought would have been doing better right now. Is it just the NFL, or is it something that we saw coming? What you think?
Well, I'm shocked with that 0-3 Raiders. I'm shocked. I thought it would have been the 0. I figured Devontae played that much of a influence on, he was so much of a. I was like, wow, man. It's like Aaron, they missed the beat, man. It's like, but I hope they turn it around, but it ain't looking so good because they said he only Devontae Adams. It's like he forgot the other two people.
Now,
So,
let me ask this
I don't know. He's gonna have to get that.
I know you're gonna like this. Who's the coach of the Raiders now?
The guy from the Patriots.
The guy from the Patriots. He was with Denver for a minute. Do you think that that once again it's the Bill Belichick coaching tree curse that's catching up to him?
No, I think he just have to. I think what's the quarterback name? I can't think of the quarterback. What is the quarterback? I think he just has to. Okay.
David.
Who?
I can't think of his last name, but David.
Right. Okay. David Carr. Okay. I think David Carr has to realize that before Devontae Adams came, you had Waller and you had the other guy. Just add Devontae into the mix. That's all you got to do. But I get Devontae is the prime factor, so I get it. But now you can't shield what you did. He wasn't there last year. Him in. I get it. He should be more targets, but don't forget that. And once David Carr realizes that, they'll be fine. It's just a point of when he gonna realize it. Because right there now looking at 0-4. But once they get the first win, I think that'd be all right.
Okay. All right, because this is the first time in a long time that almost every team has had at least one win this early in the season, and I'm shocked that the Raiders are the only team that's sitting at 0-3. But they would, hopefully they can turn around and have a good season. Normally 0-3 teams don't make the playoffs at this point, but hey, why not them be the first? All righty, let's see here. Let's look at college football. Does Michigan State suck, or do they suck? So I'm saying that emphatically and as a question. It was basically what's really going on in East Lansing right now. Why do you think they're having the troubles that they have?
It's not a problem. Come on, man. We both bleed green and white. It's not a problem. What was their record last year?
Last year they were 12-3?
11-2.
11-3. 11-2.
11-2. What's their record right now?
2-2.
So if he wins games, what's the problem? They're 11-2, right?
Okay. See,
I sat there and I did the math. The only thing here, 2 losses right now. If they were 4-0, we'd still be saying, okay, they 4-2. Now, if he loses today and he loses next week, you could kind of he can go 9. They can go 9-0 and they finish 11-2. The same record they had last year. Okay, out of the words of Aaron Rodgers, and I don't even like Aaron Rodgers. Relax. There you go.
He always goes, shh, relax. You're right. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about it. Just because they don't look. They look a little out of sorts. They don't look like they're on the same page. Is what I'm worried about.
Game. Now you remember me and you talked during that game. You was like, I say, relax. We had to fly across the country. Relax.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you said that.
Today, wasn't you glad you turned it back on?
No, because I didn't watch the rest of that game. So after I told you I was done, all I did was watch the score. And once I realized you said Penix, it didn't dawn on me who that really was. I saw the homecoming game in person 3 years ago where he put up 400-some yards in passing. And when I saw him again, I said, oh, Lord, we in trouble, because I know he was mad because we beat him on the last-second touchdown. That was really kind of a fluke. So I knew that he was really going to be gunning up for us this time we played him.
We good, man.
Okay.
We good. Don't call for his head. yet. We good.
I'm not calling for his head because I felt that last year we were a little ahead of schedule more than what we probably should have been. Because
but then you got to figure too, and this is no excuse. You know me, I don't like excuses. Last year we had Kenneth Walker. Last year we had one of the receivers. The receiver's not there, but the Washington game we make it number 0. He's on the basketball team too. I'm like, how does Steve play football? Dude is he's nice. They gonna be all right. I think it was more of playing in Seattle. Nationally tough. Mel didn't get them ready. They would have came to East Lansing, you would have seen a totally different game. Like, you need to play as good as on the road as you do at home. You do. Last week game, Minnesota. When have you ever seen Minnesota? The last time I know Minnesota to be good was when they had Marion. They had the two punch running back. Nah. At Michigan State, you kind of not a cakewalk, but not. I wouldn't have thought they would have got blew out to Minnesota. But trust me. Relax.
Okay. All right.
I don't care what he do, as long as he take care of up the road. He can win. He can beat Michigan and lose the rest of the game. I don't care.
Okay. Move forward really quickly. Herm Edwards was fired coming off the field. I've heard of them saying, they don't let him go in the locker room. But this was visualized. They had the camera trained on him.
Yeah,
they already brought him over, and you can see the head down with the shaking. And that was it. Next, you see a picture of him in the airport. Was that fair of him being fired on the field like that?
I think it was a setup. I do. I think Herm Edwards was set up. I think Herm Edwards, he was at Arizona State. Incredible coach. But I think he was set up. I really do.
Because there was some reports out that they were
they have in mind
plans.
who they want, and knowing he wasn't going to resign or wasn't going to go nowhere. I really do. It's kind of like him. Remember the Titans. Remember when he tried to say Denzel, if Denzel didn't win, he would be the coach again, and then my man changed, and it was like, you just lost coach of the year. I think they set him up.
Yeah, because there was a report that said that they were sending the game plan to the other team.
Yep, I read that too. Right.
I saw that. That's crazy. Yep. All right. We pretty much back on. We had to cut a few things up, but we're pretty much back on track. And as we come towards the end of our show, we're going to take a quick pause for the calls as we get ready for Stupid Sports News. All righty. First thing we have in Stupid Sports News, we have NFL fight. The Bills' Bobby Hart trying to fight a player on the Titans and wound up punching a coach. And God gets himself suspended. What was he thinking?
To be honest with you, I didn't even see it. Okay, remember back in the day, Jerry Glanville and what was my man name? Used to coach. Remember they got to fighting on the sideline one year. So I mean that's part of the game. Every coach ain't.
The significance is the player punched the coach, even though it wasn't intended for the coach. He punched the coach. The punch was intended for another player, but he ducked it and came over the top.
He did the
that's the significance.
Hill and duck.
Right. Yeah. So that was the significance of it. We've had coaches fighting each other on the sideline. What's the coach used to be at? He was the coach for the Eagles for all those years. Him and his father, Buddy Ryan and Buddy Jr. and his son, they both were fighting on the sideline. Buddy Sr. punched somebody, and his son punched somebody on the sideline. So that's generational punching. So that's different. It's always players fighting on the sideline. That's nothing new, I should say. It's not right, But being a former player, you know, emotions run high when things on the line. You trying to win, and people not doing their job, and people get upset. So that's not the issue. The issue is a player punched the coach, even though it's mistakenly. The player punched the coach. So now he is
Was it
suspended.
mistaken?
I would hope so, you know, because that's
Right.
career, that's
Was
career
it
ending.
mistaken?
That's career ending. It could be potentially. So, but he only got suspended one game because he was in it into it with another player. Had it been player on coach like that, you probably could have canceled Christmas for his career because you know that's the spree well. That's the spree well.
No, spree did was totally that was unacceptable.
I'm talking about in that same vein, fighting the coach. You know, if you into it with a coach, y'all talking junk at the end of the game, going in the locker room, and you swing on the coach, you pretty much gonna cancel Christmas with that guy because that's not something the league gonna put up with. You know, team on team, coach to coach. Even when the Lions coach got into it with Harbaugh walking off the field, which is the funniest fight ever. That was the funniest fight I ever saw in my life. They got
last year when the guy from Michigan State snatched away from Izzo. He was going to the halftime. But Izzo was trying to talk to him. Was it Gabe Brown? Gabe Brown was like, man, get off of me.
But they worked that out though. You know, that pretty much that really affected that game. The kid, but didn't the kid come back though?
Yeah, Gabe came back.
Right, so it worked out. That's what I'm saying. But that did affect the game greatly. But you know, emotions run high. I've had that happen where you know I'm coaching the kid. Kid got mad and get that coach. Blah blah blah. Lots of strong words back. So it happens. But it would, you know, when somebody throwing punches, that's a totally different thing. Whether it be coach throwing punches, that he could lose his job for that, or player, you know, those are things that are quote unquote inexcusable. All righty. Next thing we have, at the behest of players and lots of pressure, Phoenix Mercury owner Robert Sarver is now selling the team. Last time we in Stupid Sports News reported how he had made an unsafe work environment for players, saying the N-word at will for women, pretty much doing the Udoka, singing and grabbing and talking and doing all kind of stuff he's not supposed to. Where originally he was given a 1-year suspension and no use of team facilities, anything like that for the owner, which I thought was crazy because the precedent had already been set with the Clippers, a former owner. The precedent was already been set. So why is it that what was so different about him that he got a 1-year suspension as opposed to the previous owner being immediately saying that he got to sell his team? I think the difference is the who was it? The commissioners, 2 different commissioners. You got the first commissioner, David Stern, was like, no, not on my watch. You got to go. As opposed to the new guy who was a little more soft.
It was the same commissioner.
That wasn't Stern.
David Stern. No, David Stern didn't get rid of him. It was the commissioner now. It was the commissioner now.
Adam. Oh, man,
Adam Silver got rid of Donald Stern. David Stern had already passed. Rest in peace. No, David Stern was already deceased. So Adam Silver.
So the question remains, what was the difference?
Because you had audio of Robert Sarver. That's the difference.
So like the NFL was what's name getting punched.
Correct. Donald Sterling, you actually heard him saying the reason they have their cars. I'm the reason they have their houses. I'm the reason they have their pool. We didn't hear Robert Sarver say that. We just, heard allegations. So, but I believe they both should have got the same punishment. To me, they both should have got the same punishment. But the only reason why is because you actually hear Robert Sarver.
So basically, the optics of it was totally different. Okay. All right. I understand that. I definitely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Really quickly, we want to make sure we thank Vicki Johnson Williams for joining us today. John Kershaw, Teresa Marshall, excuse me. Teresa Marshall, Darren Smith. We got some other folks over here. Ramona Cox. Make sure I get everybody. Sandra D, Jan Holmes Boyd, James Williams, Nicole Baldwin, Karen Poole, Rochelle Weathers, Darren Smith, David Coleman, Christina Smith, Carmen Winbush, Ronald Riggs, Tamuk, Scruggs, Ulysses DeShazer, Vanessa Adner, Mama V, Vanessa Adner, the good Reverend Doctor, and Tony Cook. Thank you guys for coming in and joining us today. Young man, this has been a great day. We went over just a little bit. It was very worth it by having Randy come out. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Greg. It's 7-0 USC already. All right. So I guess they're not wasting no time. Not wasting no time. It was something Texas A&M coach that you was talking about. Kevin Sumlin. Thank you for that, Greg. I like Kevin Sumlin, but he couldn't control those kids. Same reason why he left the other school. Was it? He was good at Florida Atlantic. Was it Florida something he was at? But he's in a lot of ways like Bobby Williams. He had a hard time controlling the kids. So, but Kevin Sumlin is a good coach. He is a really good coach. All right. Wow. What a show. What a show. Don't forget Love and Stuff on Tuesdays at 8:30 Eastern. Dr. V on Wednesdays noon. Love and the Scriptures with Brother Williams Wednesday evenings. And don't forget to join the Sports Talk group. Don't forget to click like, click share, and get the book as well. Grateful Journey every day. Thank you for those who keep joining the sports group. We are growing and growing by leaps and bounds. And as you can see, we are doing our best to make the show better. The best show has to get better, so that we want you to continue to come back to get something different than what you're getting in everywhere else. And that's what we try to do. So thank you so very much. Please be safe. Go get you some pumpkin spice something if that's what you like, and have a great rest of your day.
All